Okay, we're now going to quickly discuss an attribute MSA the Anodize parts team did on the visual inspection. So remember, the parts are examined by inspectors, and they're classified into three categories. Normal black, which is acceptable; purple black, unacceptable; smutty black, also unacceptable. So a sample of 50 parts were selected, and the breakdown is there were 13 normal, 19 purple, and 18 that were smutty. The parts were also examined by a senior inspector who was considered very good at it, and she was used as a standard. So let's see how they did in their attribute MSA. So I'm going to go over to jump, and we see the data, and again the expert is considered correct. So we go to Analyze, Quality and Process, Variability Chart, and day is not a variable I'm actually using in this case. So we have the three inspectors, Hal, Carly, and Jake. And the expert is the standard, and the grouping is by the individual part. Okay. So again, I'm going to close that attribute chart and just come down to what I'm really interested in is number one, the kappa values. How well did they relate to each other? Notice they're all well above 0.6, so it looks like there's substantial inter-rater agreement. And then how about accuracy? How well did they agree with the expert? And the answer is there was a very high level of agreement. So overall, this was a fairly short study. Again, in this study they selected 50 parts, and I'll just show you the distribution. I don't actually have it in this file. I have it in another file. I can show you by expert rating. Okay. So here's a breakdown on the parts by expert. And in doing these types of studies, you want to make sure you have a good representation of all of the categories that would be used in the study. So we have a healthy sample of all three, and it turns out that all of the raters seem to do a good job of agreeing with the expert. In fact, the way I can show that to you is, again, use distribution and just put all four of them in, the raters and the expert. Okay. So again, if the expert is considered correct, actually I think I'll just leave it the way it is. Okay. Get the jump file that I want. So for the expert, if I click on, for instance, normal black, you get some idea of the level of agreement. And you can see, yes, there are some small misclassifications, but generally the raters are very good. There's a fair amount of agreement, very little error among the three. So what happened at this point, and you can read the discussion in the notes, okay, the team decided that basically the measurement systems were capable, the backscatter gauge was brought into capability, and the visual inspection was found to be very capable. So at this point, they decided it was time to move on with the measure phase.